After 14 years of covering their rent, vacations, and medical bills, I got a text, "Please don't come this S. Thanksgiving, we're keeping it just family, and that doesn't include you." I didn't argue, I just wrote back. Message received. Expect a note. Then I totaled the $610. Zero I'd sent them. I ended every transfer, sold their spare car, and listed the beach condo in my name after 14 years of being the silent net they never saw. I got a text, "Stay away this Thanksgiving. We're keeping it just family, and that doesn't include." Call no explanation, Jew suit. I stared at the screen for a minute, rereading the message. The timestamp said 7:12 a.m. like they wanted to catch me before I made any plans, as if I ever made any, as if they hadn't made it perfectly clear that I was the plan, the contingency, the safety net, the unacknowledged donor of everything they never wanted to earn. I didn't argue, I didn't even type why. I just replied, "Message received, expect a letter." I wasn't seeking revenge, just boundaries that should have existed years ago. Then I set the phone down, got out of bed, and bed my laptop first thing. I pulled up the shared spreadsheet I created a decade ago to track my transfers to them: medical bills, rent support, last-minute vacation money, car insurance lapses. Line by line, I logged every cent, partly out of habit, mostly out of self-defense. Not once had they asked if I needed help. Not once had anyone said, "Thank you beyond a throwaway, you're a lifesaver." At a birthday dinner, I paid for $610. $382, that was the total. I had never seen it as a debt. But exclusion forces you to reevaluate what you gave away without question. I closed the laptop, leaned back in my chair, and let the silence sit. Then I stood up, walked over to the side drawer, and pulled out the spare set of car keys. The beach condo deed was there too, still folded in the envelope my lawyer had sent. Technically, it was under my name, always had been my parents'. Just like to pretend otherwise. The car gone, sold by noon. The condo listed by evening, by the time they realized what was happening. I'd already cut the cords. It wasn't punishment, just the final step toward peace of mind. No more rent payments for Mom. No more helping with Ethan's private school. No more bonus Venmos just to tide us over, because Claire had another emergency dental bill she didn't tell her husband about. And the thing is, I didn't feel mad. I felt something else clear. It wasn't anger. It was the quiet relief of no longer needing to prove my worth, because this wasn't about the money. Not really. This was about the text. That one sentence that said everything they actually believed but never dared say aloud. I wasn't family. Not really. Not when it was time to celebrate. Not when it was about joy. Only when the lights flickered, or the rent was due, or someone needed a cosigner, did I matter. But this Thanksgiving, no. I was an inconvenience, an outsider, a wallet with shoes, so I gave them what they wanted: distance, and what they didn't expect: a bill. Let me rewind 14 years. That's how long I played this role. It started the year my dad temporarily lost his job. I was 23, just landed a steady role in tech, fresh benefits, first real paycheck, hope blooming like something fragile and stupid in my chest. Mom called crying, rent was overdue. Could I help? Just for a month. I wired her $1,800 that night. She didn't even text thank you. That became the rhythm. Ethan needed braces. I covered them. Claire's car broke down on the way to Coachella. I paid the mechanic over the phone when Dad had surgery, and the insurance got complicated. I was the complication solver. No one else offered. No one even pretended to try at first. I told myself it was fine. I had more than they did. I could afford to help, but it never stopped. Even after Dad got rehired, even after Claire got her PR promotion, even when Ethan started his own crypto venture that failed spectacularly and publicly, they just pivoted the pressure. I became their fallback, their silent finance seer, their plan B. They called me mature, responsible. You always keep us together. Translation: you always pay. And I let them. I let them because I wanted to be included. But inclusion came with conditions. I had to laugh off insults, like when Ethan said at a family dinner, "You must love being single. No responsibilities but your bank account." Or when Mom joked, "Good thing you don't have kids. You'd be broke if you did." At Claire's wedding, they sat me at a side table with a photographer and her assistant. I paid for the open bar. My name wasn't in the program, and still I showed up. I kept showing up until last Thanksgiving. That was the first time it cracked. They planned a trip to Maui. Mom, Dad, Claire, Ethan, even Lee's new boyfriend and her dog. I only found out through an Instagram story tagged Ohana time. On a beach I paid for 3 years ago during a refinancing scheme to help Dad keep the family property. I scrolled through picture after picture, my family and Lay's cocktails, matching sandals. I didn't say anything. I Venmo'd Claire $400 2 days later when she said her credit card got flagged. No apology, just, "Hey, can you spot me?" But this year, that text broke something clean. "We're keeping it just family, and that doesn't include you." Andy realized this wasn't about a vacation or a dinner or a misunderstanding. It was a message, a declaration. I was never one of them, just adjacent, convenient, a donor they could uninvite. So I wrote that letter, 3 sentences, effective immediately. All financial support previously provided by me is terminated. All jointly held assets will be reclaimed or liquidated. You may contact legal representation for further details. This wasn't an attack. It was a chance for all of us to finally deal in truth. Then I attached documentation, page 1. Log every transfer, every loan, every emergency bailout. They begged me to keep quiet, annotated with dates, bank references, and proof page to notarize documents confirming the change of ownership on the beach condo. I'd updated the title 6 months ago. They just never read the fine print. Page 3, vehicle sale confirmation, the SUV Ethan called is gone, listed, purchased, profited by me. IC seat, the family lawyer they'd used for years. The same man who once told me at a Christmas party, "You're the reason this family runs." I sent the email at 3:34 p.m. on a Thursday, right before the weekend, right before they'd start prep for the Thanksgiving. I was uninvited from I waited. Nothing happened for 17 hours. Then my phone began buzzing. "Claire, is this a joke? Mom, please call me now." "What is this, Dad? We need to talk." "This isn't like you, Ethan, bro. You transferred the car." I didn't respond. I turned off my phone, went to the gym, ate dinner in peace. The panic didn't hit until Saturday, apparently. The beach condo had been prepped for Thanksgiving, cater booked. Claire's friends flying, and I hadn't even known it had been my backup plan if I ever wanted to Airbnb it. No, it was locked access, revoked new codes, and the text changed tone. "Mom, you're hurting everyone." "Claire, you need help." "Dad, this family has always supported you." "Ethan, I'm stuck in Arizona with no car. Fix this." I didn't reply. They tried calling my ex. She called me later, laughing. They actually asked me to mediate, like I'm still the family therapist. And then came the kicker, a long, desperate email from Mom titled, "We didn't mean it." She wrote, "It was just a hard year. We thought maybe you needed space. We didn't know you felt excluded. Then you've always been so generous, so level-headed. And finally, if you could just reinstate Mom's rent support for December, we can sort everything else out after the holidays." That's when I knew they still didn't get it. This wasn't a temper tantrum. This was a severance package. And I was just getting started. The real rupture came the night before Thanksgiving. I was at home alone, slow roasting a small chicken instead of a turkey. Because somehow that felt more honest. No parade on TV, no playlist, just quiet, the kind I used to mistake for peace. Before I realized it was just the absence of being used, that's when my phone buzzed again, a ping from Claire. No apology, no acknowledgement, just a shared folder. No subject, just the word logistics. Curious, I opened it. Inside was a polished itinerary for their Thanksgiving celebration. A formal event, apparently custom menus, seating charts, a full vendor list for catering, florals, even valet. There was a note about wardrobe coordination for photos, earth tones, nothing too loud. Then I saw the spreadsheet, Q1, Q2, Family support budget. My breath caught in my throat. The first column listed everyone by initials. C. Claire, E. Ethan, M.D. Dad, D. Me. Next column contributions under my name, $48. 0 projected by April, already split rent support mom $2,000 by 4 vehicle maintenance dad, $1,200. School deposit Ethan's son, $5,000 emergency fund, CLA $7,800 beach condo upkeep. $3,000 Q2 buffer, $8,000 discretionary safety. $20,000 every cell was filled with calm confidence, like this money already existed in their hands. Like they were planning how to spend me, and the final tab hit like a punch to the chest. It was titled Contingency if D becomes resistant, just to bullet points remind him how much we've done for him emotionally if needed, push guilt angle via mom. He'll crack faster. That's when the anger dissolved, not into grief, not into rage, into clarity. They weren't confused, they weren't misjudging. This wasn't about family failing. To understand boundaries, this was calculated. I was a budget item, with emotional strings attached. They didn't see me, only what I gave, and this year, I'd stopped being manageable that night. I didn't drink, didn't rage post, I printed the file, all 28 pages. Then I opened a folder I hadn't touched in years, my own version of records. Tax filings, bank wires, Vimo screenshots, mortgage co, signature docs. Claire's failed boutique business. I'd quietly sunk $24. 0 into Ethan's $9,000 medical bill. I paid off, which turned out to be for LASIK and a last-minute Vegas trip, every favor I funded while they validate support I compiled. Everything line by line, category by category, with one note at the top. What family took unreturned it. Totaled $6,103,827. And that was conservative by midnight. I had drafted the document. It wasn't a threat, it was an itemized invoice broken down by year, payer, and purpose. I attached 3 signatures: mine, my accountant's, and my attorney's. Then I wrote one message: this is the sum total of what I've contributed, not $1 repaid. Moving forward, I will not be available for contribution, support, or emotional coercion. Any future engagement will require formal mediation sent. It said every family member buked the family's accountant, the same man who once joked without D, we'd be filing for bankruptcy. Then I turned off my phone and slept the best I had in years, not because I had one, but because I'd finally stopped losing to myself. Thanksgiving morning, I woke to silence until 9:47 a.m. That's when the implosion began. Mom, you're ruining the holiday. Please call Dad. What is this? You sent this to our CPA. Claire, this is insane. We're family. Ethan, dude, you sold the SUV. Are you kidding? Then came the panic. Apparently, they had guests coming to the beach condo, unaware I had revoked access and changed the security codes. 2 days earlier, Claire sent a photo of the lock. Why can't we get in then? You need to undo this. We have kids here. Then we called the police. This is illegal. I didn't respond. They'd spent over a decade pretending my money was theirs. Now they were shocked. I remembered. It was mine at 1:23 p.m. Ethan sent a voice note. D. I'm stuck. We were halfway through Arizona when the car app locked out its toad. You sold it. You're ruining lives over a holiday. Dinner. I replayed it once. Then I archived it that evening. I sat down with a simple meal and put on a movie. My phone buzzed constantly. Unknown numbers, block numbers, even old friends from the extended family circle trying to mediate. I ignored them all because I saw. Now they never invited me to the table. They invited my access, my credit score, my silence. But this year, I RSVP'd to myself, and I was finally a party of one. The explosion didn't start with a call or an email. It started with a video the day after I sent the letter. Claire posted a reel. She stood on the balcony of the beach condo, my condo, wind in her hair, clutching a glass of white wine like she was the queen of coastal serenity. Soft music played in the background, kids ran through the sand in slow motion. Ethan waved from the grill wearing a t-shirt that said family first. The caption, grateful, united, unbothered. I stared at it, letting every pixel burn the gall. The pure, unfiltered audacity to throw a social media middle finger while squatting in a property I owned, paid for, and had now locked down what she didn't. No, not yet was that the video had been filmed 3 days earlier, because that morning a locksmith arrived. So did the property manager by 10 o'clock a.m. The smart locks were changed, utilities canceled, security cams synced to my phone, and at 11:32 a.m. I filed the formal notice all unauthorized occupants would be reported as trespassers by sundown. Then I waited. By 4:17 p.m. Ethan called. I didn't answer. By 4:22 p.m. Claire texted, "Is this your idea of a joke? The code isn't working, the power's off, we have guests arriving." I sent one message back, "Enjoy your gratitude from the parking lot." I knew how it looked, but this wasn't revenge. It was the restoration of dignity. Then I muted the thread that night. The group chat I hadn't looked at in 6 months suddenly lit up like a Christmas tree. New name, time to heal first came. The guilt, moms crying, "You broke her heart. This isn't who you are. You're better." Then came the fear. We have nowhere to go. The car's gone. Ethan stuck. "Do you even care what you're doing to your family?" I didn't reply. Instead, I drafted the second wave that same evening. I reached out to the family accountant, the same one who used to call me the glue. I had him issue formal notifications of withdrawal from the backup trust, the emergency fund, and the joint tax shield I'd created to cover their sloppy filings for the past 6 years. By morning their accounts were flagged for review. Claire's credit card bounced. Ethan's tuition grant was revoked. Mom and Dad's property tax auto payment failed. The dominoes fell faster than I expected. At 9:03 a.m. Ethan showed up at my door, disheveled, sweating, rattled like a man who'd just realized the ground beneath his feet was artificial turf, and I'd pulled it. He didn't knock, he pounded. When I opened the door, he didn't say hello. He just stared at me like I was the villain in a movie he hadn't realized he was starring in. "You left us stranded," he said. I leaned on the frame, calm, composed. "You left yourself stranded." I just stopped towing the weight. I wasn't abandoning family. I was stepping away from a role that had broken me. He shook his head. "You don't understand. I have a kid on the way. Claire's got bills, mom's freaking out, and now Dad's I cut him off." Let me guess. Disappointed. Ethan's mouth opened, but he had nothing. Then he tried the angle I knew was coming. "This is still your family." "No," I said. "This is a family that saw me as an ATM. A backup plan, a resource to be mined." He stepped forward. "We didn't ask for all that you just always offered. You never gave me the option not to." He didn't reply, just stood there, red fist eye, starting like a man standing in a house that had already burned down, still looking for the front door. Then he dropped the final card. "Mom says you've changed." I smiled. She's right. I closed the door. An hour later, Mom called, left a voicemail so long it cut off. She cried, begged, accused, all in one breath. She said the condo was a gift to the family that I promised to share. She said this holiday was supposed to be about healing. She ended with, "You've always been the strong one, the responsible one. We need you to come back." I sat with that line for a while. Part of me still grieved that it came to this, but another part refused to lie to myself any more than I sent her a photo. It was a screenshot of the spreadsheet from the Q1 and Q2 budget plan they built behind my back, the one that listed me as a funding source, a number, and beneath it, I typed, "This is who you needed, not me. That version's gone. Happy Thanksgiving." By that evening, my phone was a graveyard of missed calls. I turned it off, made myself dinner, put on music, and sat for the first time in over a decade inside a life that was finally mine, not inherited, not demanded, not guilt into submission, not Rented out in exchange for crumbs of conditional love, the aftermath didn't scare me, it freed me, because when you stop being their oxygen, they learn what breathlessness really means. They say silence is peaceful. That's a lie, real silence after. The storm after the severance is a vacuum. It hums, it pulls at you like it's waiting for you to fill it again with apologies you don't owe and explanations they don't deserve. But I didn't. I let it ring. By December, the family had gone quiet. Not healed, hushed. There were no more voicemails, no more late-night texts pretending nothing happened. Just absence. And you'd think that would hurt, you'd think. I'd wake up wondering what if I didn't, because for the first time I could see the space they used to take up and how much I had bent myself to fit their shape. They held Thanksgiving without me at Claire's cramped apartment. From what I gathered through a tagged photo, someone forgot to hide paper plates, fold-out chairs, a cake from a grocery store with a misspelled thankful. Claire smiled through it like a politician. Ethan looked like he hadn't slept in days. Mom wasn't in any of the photos. Dad had posted a cryptic meme 3 days later. Sometimes the tree must be cut to see who falls with it. 3 likes, 1 comment from a cousin. You okay, Uncle Rick? I didn't respond. Instead, I finalized the last step: the condo lease signed. Trust accounts closed, the final asset, the emergency fund I had built, funded, and hidden under their names for years, dissolved and distributed to me legally, quietly. Finally, I wired a portion to a cause I actually believed in. The rest sat untouched, not because I needed it, because I earned it. In January, a letter arrived, handwritten for Mom. The envelope was thick, the kind you use when you think weight means sincerity. Inside, 4 pages of sorrow, nostalgia, and excuses. She wrote about how hard things have been, how much you missed me, how families fall apart when people don't forgive. Then came the pivot. She asked for help. Again, not money, understanding, which is what they always wanted for me to understand why they took and why I shouldn't make them feel bad for it. I folded the letter, lit a match, watched the edges curl in the sink. And then I picked up a pin. 1 sentence: I can forgive, but I won't be used again. I sealed it, sent it back. No return address. That was 3 months ago. I haven't heard from them since. No birthdays, no group chats, no desperate reach-outs from extended cousins trying to mediate. They're gone, and in their place, silence. But this time, it's actually peaceful, the kind you don't fill, the kind you protect. And when people ask what happened between me and my family, I tell them the truth. I stopped being their donor. They stopped being my blood. Maybe one day we'll speak again, but next time it'll have to be on terms where respect weighs more than expectation. And this time, I kept the receipt.